Hello everyone and welcome back. It's day 10, so it's time to do it again. We're gonna bust open this door and see what spooky horror awaits us. What do you think it's gonna be? We've only got so many left now, so we'll get to the one you want to see if you haven't already seen it. Today I'm joined by my longtime friend, Jeremy.
Hello everybody.
Some of my more avid listeners may remember him from the podcast, actually. He's been involved in not just small conversations, but insane D&D games as well. That's right, nerds roll hard. So, it's been a very nice day. We might as well see what's behind this door and get it going. Time to open the door.
Door number 10.
Hey, look, you didn't destroy it.
Aha! Who is it, I wonder? Oh, I think I know.
Da 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 da!
Feed me, Seymour!
It's Audrey too! Feed me! Feed me, Seymour! Not gonna lie, I'm really excited about this one. I've been waiting for you, little plant man. So, let's jump into the pile. Dive, dive, dive! The movie Little Shop of Horrors came out in 1986. I honestly have not heard of a lot of horror musicals, which this is. It's quite wonderful.
It really is.
Little Shop of Horrors. They're all so catchy. And our friend Rick Moranis plays the lead role. He is Seymour. Not him. He's not Seymour. Rick is Seymour. Oh, Rick Moranis, you lovable doofus. Throughout this movie, Rick works at a small floral shop, and he has eyes for his lady Audrey, another person who lives in the poor part of town like he does. It's brought up several times in Sing Song how poor everybody is and how much life is hard.
Aw, Audrey.
He wants her like any prepubescent stuck in an adult's body, and he pines after her from afar, longingly gazing at her, hoping that one day she will notice him. And then, Audrey too arrives. And Tuesday is quite the weird happening. First he shows up, and he hangs out, until he gets a taste of blood, and then he decides he's hungry, and he can't be quenched. He eats several people in this movie. After a certain point, Rick's just feeding the bodies to him to keep himself from being eaten.
Yeah.
That, and once this weird plant arrived, everybody flocked from all over the world to see it. They're like, oh, wow, let me see your cool plant.
What an amazing plant!
Oh, boy. So his business skyrocketed during that time. So he was really not wanting to let it go. When you finally become successful with the thing you love, years later, you kind of don't want to let go of that jump. Even if it eats people.
Yeah.
Even if it tries to eat you.
I don't want to let go of that cash cow.
Fun fact, the big plant puppet that was Audrey 2 took 60 people to operate, the big one. They've got a couple different sizes of Audrey, you know, throughout different shots when you need to see them at different sizes, kind of. Close up, far away ones, eating people. 60 people though. Can you imagine that? 2 of Jim Henson's kids were involved in this production. The puppet master himself. Just try to imagine it now. Muppets defeat the space monster. The musical. Now I can see it now. It just violently kicks down the door. Suddenly Seymour. What was your favorite part of this movie?
Honestly, that part where the dude goes to the dentist and the dentist is like super just going to town on the dude's face, and he's just in the chair loving it. He's like, yes, yes, more, more, more. I laughed so hard because I'm like, really, who goes to the dentist just to feel the pain and the suffering that is involved with that archaic study?
A real masochist, that's who.
It cracked me up so hard. Like, who, do you remember who played that part?
I don't recall. I haven't seen this movie in a good minute. But the songs are what stick in my head more.
Yeah.
Music is something that gets stuck in my memory brain.
And it's real catchy, like rock music, like rock and roll, like early rock and roll. It's really good stuff.
Yeah, it's really upbeat and it's enjoyable.
And the storyline's just so outlandish and funny.
It is. It gets pretty intense. And it might not end as you think it would. It felt anticlimactic to see the ending, actually. I was like, well, okay. I guess we saw this coming, but still.
Yeah.
All right, well, that brings us to the questions and comments section, so you know what to do, everybody. Unless you're being threatened by a large man-eating space plant, go ahead and tell me what you think.
Basically a cabbage with a mouth.
Nom, nom, nom. So, what are your feelings on musical horror? Yours. What are your feelings on musical horror?
Well, I honestly, out of like a 5-star rating, I'd have to put it at like a 3 to 4 because of the musical aspect of it.
Not a
I mean,
musical
if it
guy?
wasn't a musical, it would be cheesy and ridiculous.
Yeah.
But since it's also a musical, and I actually do tend to like musicals, it boosts that rating up a lot higher.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that not being as scary of an event, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Just space plant, random people.
I could honestly see a remake of this movie as not a musical per se, but it as an actual modern day horror film, and it would actually probably kick off really well.
Yeah.
Because today's CGI and all that.
Also, he would way kick the heck out of The Happening.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, The Happening wouldn't even have happened.
No, he would have happened. I really like musicals. I'm a choir kid, so I've been performing since I was in kindergarten. So I love anything with music, anything with dancing and show tunes and choirs, where there's more than one person singing harmonies. I love that. It's so much fun. But you don't see a lot of them. I really can't name a lot of horror musicals off the top of my head.
One of my favorite horror musicals of all time was actually made by one of my favorite two artists, Trey Stone and Matt Parker. It was one of their first actual motion picture movies. It was called Cannibal the Musical.
Cannibal the Musical. Have you seen it?
Super funny and ridiculous.
Let's build a snowman.
Movie. Like, yeah, let's build a snowman. And like, if you like horror and you like comedy and you like ridiculously outlandish musicals, I suggest highly you watch Cannibal the Musical, because also one of my favorite musicals.
And if you're not familiar with the creators, they're the guys who do South Park.
Yeah, Matt Stone, Trey Parker.
It's pretty dark.
Might have heard of them. Yeah, it gets pretty bad, but it's also really funny.
What do you expect from a show called Cannibal the Musical, though?
Exactly. You don't know what to expect.
No.
Until you watch the movie.
You just know darkness ensues, and there will be people eaten.
But also, don't forget to watch Little Shop of Horrors.
Do it. Do it. Have you ever seen a Venus flytrap?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, they're cool.
Yeah,
Have you
awesome.
seen them eat flies?
Yes, I have.
It's very slow.
Well, it depends.
Yeah?
Honestly, I think on the temperature outside.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Because the one I saw, it had this nectar in the bottom of it that lured the fly in, and it was just sitting there munching as it just slowly closed around him.
Until it had a cage and it couldn't get out.
It was far too late at that point.
I think more in temperate zones, I think they're a little faster. That may not be true or not. I don't know.
Tell us in the comments.
Yeah, if you know about Venus flytraps,
Tell us.
shoot us a comment.
Because we want to know more. We like to learn.
I do. He does. So do they.
How many houseplants do you have?
Too many to count on my fingers.
Okay, so enough.
Yeah.
For now.
But I'm just thankful that none of them are carnivorous yet.
The Happening.
The happening will happen.
It could happen. I used to have a lot of houseplants. I really like houseplants. I enjoy having them around. It's just nice to support a small life, you know? It doesn't take much effort. It's really not that hard most of the time.
Most houseplants don't take much water.
Yeah, they don't. So if you just do a little research, I mean, you can have yourself quite a beautiful indoor garden. If you were to get any houseplant you wanted, though, what would it be?
Ooh. One of my favorite houseplants that I've come across is the goldfish plant. Because honestly, when taken care of correctly, it looks like a plant, but there's like little orange flowers that look like goldfish heads that poke out from underneath the leaves, and so it kind of almost looks like a piece of flora or fauna that you'd find on the ocean floor with like little fish poking out.
That's
and
cool.
It actually is pretty cool looking plant.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I'm really fond of bonsai.
Bonsais are great.
I really like them.
Tree tray. That's what bonsai means Japanese, I
Tree
believe.
tray.
Tree tray. Do you know the funny thing why bonsais were actually originated? Well, in Japan, there's so many people on such a small little island that they ended up, instead of having outdoor gardens, they had indoor gardens. And so their plants, instead of being big in an outdoor gardens, ended up being tiny in a little garden. And since they wanted a tree, and an older looking, crazy looking tree, they ended up planting a tree in a tray, which was basically what the layman's person would normally have at that time to plant stuff in, was like little plates and trays and things.
Yeah.
So then, after, 50, 60 years, this tree's been handed down generation after generation, ends up looking all old and gnarly and crazy looking.
Yeah, they get all twisty. They're really cool because you can kind of do it with any tree, really, too.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think it's funny that so many people yell bonsai when they jump off of things then.
Yeah.
Tree!
There's bonsai and then bonsai. All only difference is a Z and an S.
Yeah. Is it American or not? It actually really worked out perfectly because you are the most botanist friend that I have. You know the most about plants of people that I know, so
Not
it kind
by
of works
choice.
out. No, it was occupational for sure. I mean, we worked out in orchards together, so we know the trials of trees.
Not to mention my dad's a landscaper.
Yeah, so he grew up around it.
In and around nurseries my whole life.
A lot of times I have plant questions I actually ask that guy. So feel free to call him and ask him your plant questions. He's open anytime. Well, Audrey, it was nice having you, but I think it's about time to wrap it up.
I think I feel like kissing these big luscious lips.
Ooh.
Good night.
Thanks everyone for stopping by to hang out with us once again. It was good to see you as always. I can't wait to see you next time and see what's behind door number 11. Catch up with you tomorrow. Feed me.